Aditi Kinkhabwala, is on the call for the Browns-Bengals game, and she will join us right now. What's up, Aditi?
I am so grateful for letting me play tennis, so thank you. Guys, your producer rocks. Our producer rocks.
Sometimes.
I asked to push back so I could get in a tennis game,
I like the hat.
You're what?
I'm joking.
Okay,
I like
wait,
busting
can
my
I ask
stuff.
you a question, Tyvis? My son says that this is totally out of style. Like, you need a
No.
brim.
It depends on who you are. I'm a brim bent guy.
G's got the flat
Yeah,
brim.
I'm a brim. It's your style. It's whatever you prefer.
I mean, this is, and I told my son, but see, my son will only wear a completely
I've been
flat
mine.
brim.
No, Tyvis.
Denzel Washington taught me this. So my father, Denzel, always said the brim. The brim.
Since Tyvis is setting you up for a downfall, I don't set my friends up. I tell them the truth.
It's the truth.
So here's how it works. If you are wearing the dad hat, and the dad hat is classified as a brim of that style, those go for polo hats with the polo and the horse on them. Those go for company outing hats, titleist hats. Those brims can be bent down. But if you have a fitted hat, a snapback of this ilk, that hat has to be clear and flat.
Mine is of
But
that.
what kind of hat does she have?
That classifies as a dad hat. That counts.
So
She
it's
can
acceptable.
have. Yes.
Mine is of that ilk. I just
A mom hat, basically.
Yes, the mom hat. Yeah.
But see here, like, this isn't only about style. You're on the tennis court, and the sun is coming. Like, if the brim is bent, it helps block the sun.
Yep.
This is about fashion.
I think it's acceptable.
But I don't know. I feel like the flat brim just looks real weird on my face. Like,
Get a bucket
it would look
hat.
strange with the back.
because you would wear you look like you wear like a size 5 3/4 fitted hat. That's a very
not even. Like, I need a kid's hat. This is my problem. CBS keeps sending me hats, like when it's raining, so I can wear a CBS hat, and nuts come even close to fitting my head. I look ridiculous.
Have
We've been out of
learned?
yeah, definitely.
They haven't learned at this point that you need a tiny hat.
Well, the problem is that who they have making the hats for CBS don't make a women's hat or a kid's hat.
Yeah.
So I keep trying to get them to get my buddy's company, which I won't name because, well, why not? New Era.
Yeah, why not?
I want New Era to make me CBS hats because they make great women's hats and they make great kids' hats, but there's no deal yet in place. There's only so many things I can worry about right now. But hey, I've got another thing for you since you were just talking about Nick Chubb. So I read to my son before bed, and last night I read him the Nick Chubb Players Tribune article. And this is maybe the third time I'd read it all day. And at one point he said to me, "Mommy, can you stop crying?" And I said, "No. Why are you not crying right now?"
Yeah, right.
This is how much Nick
That's because he's a Bills fan.
Bro, Nick Chubb is
He's
so
a Bills
beloved.
fan.
His Players Tribune has become a nursery rhyme.
Yeah, right.
Like that is a lullaby to go to bed.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
wild.
that was the point. It's a bedtime story that my son should go to bed to, like a work ethic. And how much your parents and your grandparents love you, that they push you, and the reason for the pushing. And he got to see that as much as he thinks his baby sister is spoiled, she's not nearly as spoiled as Nick Chubb's little sister, the Queen. So there you go. It was a great tale. It was a great arc. It was better than any nursery rhyme, better than a chapter of Lemony Snicket or Percy Jackson or whatever other stuff we read.
I don't know.
And
Goosebumps.
yes,
Good. I mean,
It's October.
Adam, my
Goosebumps
son has been
books.
told my kids are going to come this weekend to the game, and my son has been warned that he is not allowed to wear Bills gear on the field. And he did say why. Like, he's like, why not? I
He's
don't
like,
get
what are you
it.
talking about?
why can't he wear?
Because Amari Cooper just went there. That's why. They go, yeah.
They're not playing.
And
the
he's a
Bills.
pair of Amari gloves. Sort of crazy. He's so jacked about Amari Cooper now being a Bill. So
I would be
Anyway.
too if I were a Bills fan.
Aditi, what are you
Yeah.
expecting to see out of Nick Chubb in his first game back? What's realistic?
So
to you?
first of all, the house is going to fall down. Like, he gets introduced on the field, and that stadium, and thank goodness, honestly, for those people, for that fan base, to be able to have something to be so excited about. So there's that. I expect it to be deafening. I also, wow, that was the jersey again. Also, where did that come from? Sorry. I
all right.
also feel like there's an emotional boost, an emotional lift. Nick Chubb, by virtue of who he is, makes everybody else want to try harder, play harder. So whatever else is swirling right now, whether there are or not frustrations with the way the quarterback situation is being handled, whether there are or not frustrations with who is putting in what, I would expect that everybody brings everything that they have, simply getting to be on the field, simply by virtue of being on the field with Nick Chubb. Now, do I expect him to go for 200 and something yards like he did in his first game back after he blew out his knee in Georgia? I don't know. I learned a long time ago, you never bet against Nick Chubb. It feels like let's not set those expectations crazy. But what's that? Do you guys know what that number is? Didn't in his first game back in college, didn't he go for like 222 or something?
I don't. We should know that, but I don't know.
I mean, my producer was telling us that his first game back in Georgia, I could look it up quickly, but that would not make for great television.
I'm looking it up right
now. Okay, thanks. At least our producer told us that his first game back after after destroying the knee and the rehab and everything, Georgia was him.
222.
There you go.
Aditi, do you expect him to get a full complement of carries, like 15 to 18, or do you think they'll do more like 5 to 10? What's your best guess at this point?
I bet that they will think that they're going to ease him in.
Right.
And then he will make it impossible to just leave it at 5 or 10. Right? Like I remember, I'll give you an example. Last year, week 2, was at Denver and Chase Young was off of an injury. And Ron Rivera swore to us up and down in the production meeting that, we want to put Chase Young on a pitch count. He's only going to come in on 3rd down. We don't want to overload him. And then I remember at some point, I think it was even in the second quarter, I said to my producer, you guys realize that Chase Young is in there on every snap, right? Like, best laid plans, and then the player plays the way the player plays, and what do? And again, one of those things that is one of my cardinal rules, never bet against Nick Chubb.
That's fair. I mean, honestly, coming into this game, and the Bengals obviously are not playing great. They've played better, and they won last week, and their offense outside of last week has been good, and their defense outside of last week has been bad. But if Nick Chubb weren't playing, I would honestly think the Browns have no chance of winning this game, even at home against a 2-4 team. But I think just something about Nick Chubb playing, I know Stefanski's done well against the Bengals, but something about Nick Chubb playing makes you think they have a lot better of a chance, which is crazy.
And again,
usually not running back related.
Again, this is one of those things, the emotional boost of it, the lift of it, his being on the field. And I know that there are tons of people who will sit here and poo-poo all of that and say it's about the plays, but emotion obviously plays a factor in these games. And there's a reason that the Bengals haven't won Cleveland in since 2017, something like that. So you take whatever you can take. I remember, so 2 weeks ago we had the Colts in Jacksonville, and Jacksonville was on the worst kind of slide that there was. And I said to Kirk, well, the Colts haven't won here in 8 or 9 outings. Does it just feel like, oh, these are all different new teams, who cares? And Christian said, where we are in our season right now, meaning the Jaguars, we're going to take whatever we can get confidence from.
Yeah.
And if we feel like we own that team here in this town, then great, let's ride that. So the Browns should be sitting here and say, you know what? We don't let that team from across Ohio come into our city, come into our building. Who knows? I haven't had my meetings yet. I haven't watched practice, so I'll obviously feel a bit different when I'm out there. I worry about the offensive line, obviously, and the line that Nick Chubb has to run behind, but
they played a little better last week.
Aditi, I was looking this up. There's a lot of parallels in this. You go back to how many years ago? 2 years. To go back to 2021, right?
That's 3 years.
3 years. Browns lose to Pittsburgh, right? They lose 15-10. After that game, the Browns...
I was at that game.
They cut Odell Beckham Jr. after that game. The very next game, I think Baker Mayfield goes out and they play at Cincinnati. They win 41-16. Now...
Yeah, but you know what? So Baker played phenomenal in that game, but that game started with that Denzel Ward massive pick six. Mm-hmm. The ball was thrown to Jamar Chase. Denzel Ward runs the whole field. And Baker wasn't going to lose. That was the week of all that crazy drama, right? Odell's dad's video, and then the Browns
crazy.
Telling him to Yeah.
And then,
Go ahead. Sorry.
You have a situation where you have Nick Chubb coming back. Amari Cooper situation. I don't think it was explosive as Odell Beckham's, but there were times where he said, "Hey, I wouldn't mind being gone. I wouldn't mind." What do you expect it to be? I do think there will be a Nick Chubb boost a little bit. I'm not going to say the Browns are going to come smoke the Bengals 41-16. But do you think that there is a little bit of magic available where we've seen I don't know why I would pick the Browns to beat the Bengals, but I go back to those situations before where, the defense is playing well. Do you foresee a chance that the Browns play differently than they've played the majority of the season and might have like a little bit of a bump here that may
Sure. I mean, if they go back to what they were doing well last year, if they go back to the core principles of Kevin Stefanski's offense, I mean, the second half last week, Deshaun Watson was actually a little bit bright, but the numbers, if you look at the numbers of target balls directed to Amari Cooper and Jerry Jeudy, I mean, it's unacceptable. That's not what high-level quarterback play is. So you expect to see more. You want to see more. You feel like the second half last week was a bit better. So you build off of that in some way. And, Myles Garrett is still Myles Garrett. I was just talking to a player on the Eagles this week to say, hey, just give me some background. You saw them up close. You studied for them. And the first thing he wrote was 95 is 95. 6 is playing phenomenally well. And I was like, really? But isn't 95 hurt? And he was like, yeah, I guess he's not 100%, but he still blocked a kick. He still jumped over a dude. They can do that. And if you want to have hope, G, how about this one? My crew, Adam Archuleta, Spiro Aditis, and Aditi Kinkhabwala, last year, when we were on the for Browns, Cleveland Browns went 3 and
I'll take that. I'll take that.
I'm
trying to drink a little Kool-Aid. I ain't drank no Kool-Aid all year.
By the way,
just trying.
The referee for this game, Ron Torber, was there was the referee when the Bengals lost to the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game 2 years ago. And he was the referee when the Bengals lost the Super Bowl, both games that were hijacked by bad refereeing, let's be honest.
Dang, boy, you done memorized the dudes that you got his address to?
I mean, that's true. I don't blame the refs for losses. I'm kidding about that.
Aditi,
Ron, I'm coming to your house, Ron. You better make some good calls.
I got one last one for you before we let you go. Obviously, the Browns defense hasn't been playing that well, particularly in the secondary. But as you know, Jamar Chase and them it's beef. It's beef between Jamar Chase and this Browns secondary. Do you think that they finally show up this year? I mean, because like I say, the last couple of weeks in the secondary, Denzel's been in and out of the lineup. Martin Emerson hasn't looked like himself. Do you think that they forget about all that and we actually see that Browns defense that we seen last year?
Well, I mean, if they're going to play as much man as they've been playing, then they need to. Otherwise, they need to play a little less man. You saw the Eagles take advantage of that, right? And with the receivers here, the way T. Higgins is playing right now, Jamar Chase has been on fire since T. Higgins has come back. It's risky. So, and obviously, Denzel has kind of been on a snap count. He's not playing as much. How healthy is he this week? How much can we see out of him this coming weekend? But you've got 2 frontline level receivers in Jamar and T. Higgins. So, I don't know. All that man worked for them last year. I don't know that it's working so much this year.
Aditi, last thing, we're going to be talking about, the Browns' number 2 wide receiver. Obviously, Jerry Jeudy is not really a number 1 wide receiver, but he's going to have to be for this team. So who's going to be the number 2? Is it going to be Elijah Moore? Is it going to be Cedric Tillman? Is it going to be, I don't know, Tyvis? Maybe we'll bring him in because none of these guys can catch the ball, so I don't know. Who's
I like Jamari Thrash in the preseason. Is he not there anymore? Is he not still somebody?
I don't think you got the memo, Aditi. Whenever the Browns draft a wide receiver, he becomes useless as soon as the Browns draft him.
Oh, stop. You know what? Cedric Tillman is a really talented kid, a nice big body. He's very heady, very smart.
9 yards.
You know what? The throws have not been on target this season.
We know Deshaun Watson can't play football anymore, but At least
Your
Amari
words.
Cooper had some yards. Jerry Jeudy had some yards. I mean, come on.
All right, so then it's Elijah Moore's turn to step up. I mean, really.
You think it should be Cedric Tillman?
I like both Tillman and Moore. I've been waiting on Moore. I've been bullish on Moore for 2 years now? Come on, please don't make a liar of me.
You and me both.
But I like Tillman. I like Tillman a lot. I really like Tillman.
All right. That would be nice if Tillman had a big game.
I mean, they got rid of DPJ for him.
Do you like him more than George Pickens?
Is there any part of you that thinks George Pickens is my style of play?
No.
Do you think that I am the sort of person that would be okay with, hey, I'm not going to block because I might get hurt? Do you think I'm the sort of person that would approve putting on your eye black? I'm always open when you have not been a consistent producer in your entire life. Do you think I am the sort of person who is okay with showing up to meetings late? Yeah, no. Not my style.
By the
Not
way,
my style.
I think Tom is making a huge mistake. Huge may be strong because Justin Fields is not that great, but he's playing well enough. Oh, they're not. Yep. They're not winning necessarily because of him, but they're not winning in spite of him either.
You know what? He played great in the end of that Indy game. He has done exactly what is being asked of him. He has never gotten greedy. He is not, even though he is desperately wanting to hold on to this position, he has never gone outside of what the offense prescribed for him. And the offense prescribed for him has been winning ugly. Yeah. They're not taking chances. And he's not saying, all right, well, screw what's called. I'm going to throw deep or I'm going to do this crazy thing. He has been very dynamic with his legs. He's worked within the offense. Like I said, he hasn't gotten greedy in any way. His teammates love him. He's gotten better every single week. You know what? Let's see what happens. But I agree with you, Adam. I would have stuck with him. And you know what? They're 4-2. They're 4-2. The defense makes a goal line stand, and they're 5-1. And what's crazy, I said this on the radio in Pittsburgh yesterday. I'm going to this Browns team is 1-5. And the fan base is clamoring for a change at quarterback. And the head coach refuses to do that. And then meanwhile in Pittsburgh, you've got a team that's 4-2. Nobody is asking for a change at quarterback. And the head coach is changing the quarterback.
Yeah, it's weird. All right. Aditi, thanks. We'll talk to you next week.
Bye, guys. Have fun.
Bye.
Please.
Aditi,
check out Aditi on the call.
Along with Spiro.